I'm Ashton Addison from the Crypto Coin Show. Today on Blockchain Interviews, we have back with us Sasha Ivanov, the founder of Waves and of Units Network. Sasha, welcome back to the show, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you very much for having me, Ashton.
I'm excited to dive into Waves once again. It's such an OG blockchain, and there's so much that's evolving in the industry that you've now birthed Units Network, which we can dive into specifically today. I would love for you to just give a high-level overview of your work at Waves and how that led to needing to start Units Network as well.
Yeah, I was on your show, I think a couple of years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, and so many things happened since, actually. So both good or bad and bad, actually. So probably you guys remember Waves. It's like an OG chain from 2016. But we're still here, we're still moving forward. We've had some issues when FTX situation happened, also Luna situation impacted us not in a good way because we had a similar stablecoin and it crashed as well, not so spectacular as Luna did, but it also actually was pretty bad. So we're still struggling with those things, but now we're like resolving them and we're moving forward. We're launching some kind of like extension to Waves. And what it is actually. So Waves is a non-EVM chain, and it has always been a problem for us. And now we are launching like an ecosystem of EVM chains. And how is it gonna work actually? So we have Waves as layer one, and those layer twos connect to it. And it's pretty different from traditional setups. And I think this is like the next step in blockchain scalability. Because in my opinion, this is some kind of like end game in this like L2 narrative and in blockchain scalability as we see it now. So basically you have a very robust like layer one, and you build different chains on top of it, and you connect those chains to this like layer one, which becomes some sort of like beacon chain, and maybe even a layer zero chain because it connects all those chains. I think this is the direction where Ethereum is going, but for them it's quite hard to move fast, but we can do that. So what we want to do, we want to like build one ecosystem on top of Waves with the same economic incentives, both like in Waves chain and in the L2s. So this is like restaking. This is a very popular narrative in Ethereum now. And we just want to like implement this in Waves and build an ecosystem of interconnected chains, properly decentralized. And they're not even L2s. They become like proper L1s because you have like several dozens validators supporting each chain. And that layer one, which connects them, becomes some kind of like layer zero because it just connects those chains in a trustless way. They become fully interoperable. And this is, I think, the end game for blockchain scalability. And we just want to implement it first, actually. So this is what we are doing now. And Waves has not been like phased out. No, it's like moving forward. And what we built is some kind of extension to Waves. And if you want to probably understand what it could look like, it's probably something like Polka. Because you don't need to run your own validators. You can just launch your own chain fast. Polka is a bit too sophisticated, in my opinion. We want to simplify the process. You just need to make a DAO governance proposal, and your chain is launched like in a few days. So our goal in terms of like usability to enable a very simple process of launching your own chains. So this is like, it's maybe somewhat similar to Cosmos as well, but in Cosmos, you usually need to run your own validators. In Units, you won't have to do that. You just can tap into the existing community of validators, and it's very easy to launch your own chain. It's an EVM chain connected to all other chains, fully interoperable. There's also like external bridges. So we want to make this process of getting your own block space very simple and accessible for everyone.
Wow. Very interesting. A lot to unpack there. So I see sort of two comparisons. There's the Cosmos ecosystem. As you said, you can sort of create your own chain independently and make it easy. But also layer twos. I think most people understand, Ethereum, and there's some layer twos on top. And as you mentioned, it doesn't mean that the layer one becomes obsolete. It actually helps enhance it as well. So could you give maybe more of a comparison on how does this differ from a layer two on Ethereum helping Ethereum layer one to how units
Yeah,
actually helps improve the Waves ecosystem?
exactly. So basically, what happens in Ethereum now? Basically, you have like these jointed layer twos, which somehow connect to Ethereum, like to Ethereum layer one, in different ways. You have like different approaches. Zero knowledge proofs. You have optimistic consensus. Different approaches. And the whole ecosystem is quite disjointed, actually. So because usually you have bridges between Ethereum and those layer twos, which are not even trustless, So, and I think this is a problem, and it will be resolved in Ethereum. And in my opinion, what will happen in Ethereum is like uh, some kind of like return of that sharding idea that Vitalik initially had, and those L2s will become shards of Ethereum, basically. So they all will be united into one ecosystem. So this is where Ethereum is going, in my opinion, and looks like this is actually what they have in mind, and this is very logical, for Ethereum, because they have sharding. This is some kind of like rebirth of the sharding idea, and they have a lot of L2s, and those L2s are not properly decentralized. This is another problem, because usually you have just one server, one sequencer that supports like a given L2 chain. And if it goes down, actually, the network goes down as well. You can take your liquidity back, so probably you won't lose funds, but it takes time, and there is a problem of centralization. So they will have to resolve it. And there is a problem of like all those L2s being like disjointed and somewhat disconnected from Ethereum. So they will have to bring it into one ecosystem based on probably restaking of Ethereum. For example, probably Eigenlayer project, which is really big now. And this is what they're doing basically. So we just want to take this a bit further, maybe move a bit faster, because we can, so we can move fast because we are not so big. So it allows us to be like a bit more flexible. So this is what we're gonna do. So we want to like take this narrative of L2 chains like to its like logical conclusion, where you have all those L2s interconnected through the basis layer. There is like one token, one tokenomics, and based on restaking of that token, you can actually achieve consensus in those L2s. And those L2s stop being L2s, actually. They become L1s because you have a proper consensus, they're properly decentralized, and the basis layer, layer one turns into like layer zero because it connects all those chains. In my opinion, this is like where blockchain research is moving towards, So, and we just want to do it faster, maybe than some other projects, but similar projects are happening now. Eigenlayer, restaking, all those narratives will probably become like combined into what we're doing now in Ethereum. But we just want to be the first. That's it.
Very interesting. And will units allow a restaking of waves, or what are the possibilities with liquid restaking tokens?
Yeah, very good question. So basically, yes, it's going to be based on waves restaking, and also we have already implemented external bridges, which actually have a different type of restaking, restaking of like external liquidity. which is not new actually, but it's quite important when you can restake your Ethereum and can also use like wrapped token, but your Ethereum actually brings you some profit as well because it's like it's been restaked under the hood, and you can basically get the native interest, native APY on Ethereum chain. So I think it's quite important to have it implemented as a product for all the chains in the ecosystem. And we have already implemented it. And also we offer restaking of stablecoins and any volatile assets. And restaking of stablecoins is not new, of course. And so it's really lucrative because you have a very high APY currently. Like 5% on your stablecoins is quite a lot. And you can also use them in other DeFi protocols. But we can also offer restaking of any volatile assets, actually, because there is this mechanism of like cross-chain swaps, which rebalances the liquidity between these different chains, and it's actually interest-bearing. So potentially you can stake any token in our bridges, I don't know, BNB, whatever, and get like maybe 3 to 5% APY. And you can also use those tokens in different DeFi protocols. So basically, you can get just like double profits from this. So this feature is unique, and I think it can be our like killer feature of our bridges for external liquidity, because nobody has restaking of any assets. It's usually Ethereum, which you restake through Lido, for example, or other native staking protocols, and stablecoins, which are usually restaked through DAI. But we want to offer also restaking of any volatile asset.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I haven't seen much on staking stablecoins or restaking them to have derivatives, but that only makes sense. And would there be an issue if you're able to restake any token, whether it's smaller? There might be some limitations on brand new coins, but sort of expanding beyond Ethereum and
Yeah, they
stables.
should be liquid. Yeah, they should be liquid. So probably we can restake, I don't know, top 200 coins in market cap. Yeah, so there has to be some liquidity, of course. But if there is some liquidity, yes. So basically, there is this mechanism when you rebalance the tokens between chains, and it's something like cross-chain curve. And because you have swaps, you have fees for swaps, and those fees can be like channeled to liquidity stakers, actually. So that's how we get APY from those pools.
And what's the current status of Units network? Is that available, or what's sort of the roadmap and the timeline for everything?
Yes, yeah, good question, actually. So now the product itself is almost ready. It's on the test net. And now we have to do some marketing, actually. So now we're gonna run a testnet campaign and also TVL campaign with retro drop. So we're not gonna invent the wheel here. I think retro drops are great, and they actually bring a lot of new people. They really like boost the community. So this is what we're gonna do, and it's gonna be done in two stages: testnet campaign, and a bit later TVL campaign, where we can stake your liquidity and get Unit Zero token when the network is launched. So Unit Zero is the native token of the first chain in the ecosystem, and there's gonna be many chains, hopefully. But I think there will be a lot of chains. But Unit Zero also serves as a governance token of the ecosystem DAO. So it's not only the native token of the first chain, it's also a governance token of the whole ecosystem.
That's great. So people will be able to start contributing or earning some incentivizations in the testnet very soon.
Yeah, exactly. So in this regard, we're not gonna be very original because this approach has worked for a lot of projects, and I think it's gonna work out for us as well.
I was just speaking to, excuse me, I was just speaking to a company who was working on restaking on the Cosmos ecosystem, and
Hmm.
they were struggling with adoption because of, I think, the complexity of Cosmos, or just not as popular as Ethereum restaking. There's still a
Hmm.
large percentage of people that aren't restaking or don't understand the benefits of it yet. Although I feel like we're at a turning point where a lot of people are going to be getting involved. What do you think units can do to communicate the benefits or lower the barriers to entry to get more people involved that haven't started restaking at all yet?
Yeah, Cosmos is also an OG ecosystem, and probably it's hard uh, uh, to adjust to current trends, for ecosystem like Cosmos. Although Cosmos is very successful, uh, and actually, I think that in our approach is going to be easier than in Cosmos due to many reasons. For example, one of them we have as like we have pure Ethereum in our L2s slash L1s. So it's not some kind of like modified Ethereum. It's pure Ethereum. So usually you have some modified Ethereum in L2s because you have some like zero knowledge approaches which require different logic, and it makes things a bit more complicated. We actually want to import Ethereum exactly as it is, and it's like pure EVM. Although Waves is not non-EVM, but here we have like pure EVM. And Cosmos has also issues with like EVM, So they do have EVM, but it's like it has been built later. So yeah, there is some like legacy issues as well. And we want to simplify the process. We want to like make the concept of risk taking complete, because risk taking will be offered not only for stablecoins and Ethereum, but for any assets. So it's like it makes this concept very like understandable, basically. So you can restake any liquid tokens, and basically, if you hold those tokens, in like in the bridge, you basically can use the wrapped tokens, but you still can get some interest, some APY from just like keeping them in the bridge, So I think it's a very simple idea, and people will understand it better when they can restake any token, not only stable coins and Ethereum, but any token at all. And this is what we're gonna do.
No, I agree. I'm looking forward to that, be able to restake anything and be able to have liquidity on it. What's the best way for people to follow along with the campaign so that they can start testing it out and get the incentivizations right when it comes out?
I think you should add to bookmarks our website, which is units.network. There's like social networks there. There's Explorer and everything you need to actually start participating in the testnet campaign, which is coming, I think, either the next week or the week after. Yeah, so we're like being flexible. We are like we want to understand what would be the best time to launch based on like market sentiment. But the ETA for launch, for mainnet launch, is like July, August this year. So you still have time to participate because testing campaign hasn't started yet. So, but you can start like making some transactions. We have a pretty big community now that just like uses some protocols on the testnet, for example, swap protocols. They issue NFTs, they do some transactions, and all those activities will be like accounted for when we start start a proper testnet campaign with like questing platform, with points, with everything that other projects are successfully doing now. And all those activities that users are carrying out currently will be like incorporated and like retroactively, basically. Yeah. So people are making some swaps now, and they will get rewards for that. And early birds usually are rewarded more. So the sooner you start participating, probably the more in zero frequency you will get eventually.
That's great to hear, and I'm going to play with it a little bit more myself. I've been hearing a lot about restaking in all different types of cryptocurrencies recently, so I feel like this is a product that could do very well. I'm looking forward to seeing it launch in the mainnet, but testnet first. I'm going to leave the link to units.network in the show notes, which it's pretty simple. It's just units.network, and the socials, I can leave a direct link there as well. I'm excited for this to come out, and wishing your team all the best in expanding the ecosystem of Waves and bringing restaking more to the masses. So thank you so much, Sasha, for taking the time.
Thank you, Ashton. Thank you for having me. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Bye.